There are many real-life business models which talk about the use of how people took proprietary software, made it open, and actually made more money than ever because they had more customers than ever. And the customers helped them change the software and make it better. If you're an educator, if you're in a university, you should be using free software to teach your students. Because free software teaches the students twice. Number one, they learn how to use the software, which is what they learn with closed source software. With closed source software, they learn how to use the software. With open source, they not only learn how to use the software, but they learn how the software works. And they can extend the software and make it better. They learn twice. So the summary of the first part of my talk of making money is that you can make money with free software all of the same ways that you make money with closed source proprietary software. Integration, teaching, value added to the customer. But in addition, you can make software in an additional way. You can make some money by changing the software to meet the customer's needs. And that's what you can't do with closed source proprietary software. With that, I'd like to talk about Project Cowl. It's a project which I've been working on for over 5 years, and we are just launching it this week. When most U.S. citizens think of Latin America, they have this vision in their mind. They think of the rainforest. They think of the Andes Mountains. They think of Carnival! And my past president thought that everybody in Latin America spoke Latin. But we all know that that's not what Latin America is about. That the reality in Latin America is that 80% of the people in Latin America live in an urban environment. They live in a city. They live in a city like Mexico City, one of the largest cities on the face of the earth. And they live in a very dense environment with tall apartment buildings, tall office buildings, and very, very close houses. Here, the internet is not 500 miles away. If the internet is there at all, it's typically only 50 feet away. And what we need to do is to bridge the gap of that 50 feet to bring the internet to everybody. So with the One Laptop Per Child project, they were trying to bring the internet to the African plains, where a lot of times the internet was 500 miles away and they didn't have electricity. I think that was a wonderful project, but I want to bring the internet to some place like the 2.5 million kids in Sao Paulo, to the 5 million kids in Mexico City. And I wanted them to have access to the internet to get the information that they need to learn and to have good jobs. So this is my African savannah. It is known as the favela, a very dense population of very poor people. We have other needs in computer science. We need to reduce the amount of electricity that computers use. We need to increase the lifetime of computers from 3 years to 10 years. We need to give a better computing experience to people to make it easier for them to use computers. We need to have more local support, not somebody in India or West Texas. We need to create between 4 and 5 million new high-tech jobs inside of Latin America. The world is going through an economic crisis. We need to fix that. And we need to move people from welfare and make them taxpayers. We need to be able to double the number of free software developers. And we need to be able to employ the unemployable. And I'll talk more about that later. But most of all, we have to have a solution which is sustainable. And that means a solution which is not dependent on government money, but a solution which creates a capitalistic system of jobs for people. Thank you. Let's take the first one, reduce the usage of electrical power. It took 60 years to generate the first 1 billion computers. Economics say that with reduction in price, it will take only 5 to 6 years for the next 1 billion computers to be generated. And after that, we will still have 4.6 billion people who do not have computers. If we do not pay attention to how much electric power these computers use, we will have to develop 8 new hydroelectric plants the size of this one, just to power the next 1 billion computers. Because your average desktop computer uses between 200 and 300 watts of electrical power. 200 watts of electrical power times 1 billion is 200 billion watts. This is the world's largest hydroelectric plant, Itupu. It produces 14 billion watts of electricity every hour. So you would need 7 Itupus to generate the electric power for the next billion computers. And you need another 7 Itupus to generate the cooling for those billion computers. We cannot go on this way. Even if you do have electricity, it may be very expensive because you may be generating it through a generator using diesel or gasoline or oil. And you're producing emissions that go into the environment. Or you may have a cabin or be on a boat, and what you need is a very, very low power system so that you can run it off of a solar cell. You also may be in a place where your electricity is not very stable. It may go off a lot. If you lower the amount of electrical power you use, then batteries begin